Hey pals! So it's 2024 and we are boycotting fast fashion. If you're not already on this train, you might be by the end of the video, so keep watching. So if you guys have been living under a rock, you might not have heard about the efficacy of certain clothing companies out there, especially clothing companies like Shein. A lot of information and videos have been circulating regarding clothing companies from overseas. A lot of them use sweatshops and are not ethically made. And it is so easy for us to turn a blind eye to things like this. But I'm gonna link some articles for you guys below that you can read regarding certain clothing companies and how they are sourced and the way that this clothing is made. A lot of them are made by women and children and they're not paid a fair wage or treated fairly. It will actually amaze you the companies that are still using sweatshops today. Clothing companies like Adidas and Aeropostale and Victoria's Secret are still using sweatshops, and that is just crazy to me. We are living in 2024, and in order to save a couple bucks, we are practically supporting slavery. It is insane to me, and I know that sounds extreme and so many people are going to make excuses and say that there's only so much we can do, but there really is so much you can do. If you don't know about how consumerism works, it is a supply and demand. So the less demand that we have for clothing like this, the less that it's going to be made and the less that things like this are going to be happening. The more that we support ethical companies, the more that demand is going to be. A lot of people say that they can't afford higher end products or natural based products, which is totally fair. So it is a small sacrifice to make. Yes, you are going to have to make an investment into the products that you are using every day, but in my opinion, it's worth it. I, at this point, refuse to support any company that is not ethically sourced, especially clothing companies, after doing research and realizing how they're treating the people that are making the clothing that we are wearing every single day. There's also a lot of information out there circulating now. I saw this video recently and it just really opened my eyes to how realistic it is. The clothing that we are wearing is literally toxic for us. If you don't know anything about me or you haven't been following me at all, you know that I'm extremely passionate about non-toxic living and non-toxic products, because a lot of these toxic products are endocrine disruptors, and the effect that they can have on our bodies over the long term, especially as women, and affecting our hormones and our cycles is actually mind-blowing. So a lot of this clothing, especially from fast fashion companies, because it's cheap, they're made from petroleum-based products and toxic chemicals and toxic dyes. A lot of workout clothing is made from either polyester or nylon, and they actually leach plastic microparticles not only into the ecosystem and into our waterways when we wash our clothes, but they are heat sensitive. So when we dry them, it's releasing these chemicals into the air and circulating around our homes. And I've mentioned quite a few times about how our skin is our largest organ. The clothing that you wear every single day, especially when you are working out, when you work out, your pores open and it is literally absorbing into your body while you are training, which is another mind-blowing thing about it. So what have I decided to do about this? I have made a pact for myself. I've completely gone through my wardrobe, and over the course of the next couple months, the next year, I'm very aware that this is going to be a slow process. I'm going through all of my clothes and getting rid of any clothing that is purchased from companies like Shein and companies that are petroleum based, companies that I know are made from toxic chemicals. A lot of the workout products that you also purchase from Amazon are not ethically sourced and are also made from toxic products. And so I'm slowly doing a purge of all of my clothing. I'm either selling them or donating them so that they can be reused. When I got into fitness and I started getting more confident in my body, I started purchasing a lot of clothes every time I went shopping, and I found something that made me feel confident or beautiful, I purchased. And over time, my clothing collection has grown to the point where I don't even know what I have, and I'm almost overwhelmed every time I get dressed. And that is another reason for me doing this, is getting into minimalism in my wardrobe and just choosing basics and deciding to only keep basics in my wardrobe that are really easy for me to reach for every single day. It's going to minimize the time that it takes me to get dressed every single day and make these decisions on what I'm wearing, which I think is extremely positive especially when a lot of the time as women, we find it very overwhelming getting dressed every single day, especially when we have issues with our self-esteem and how we view ourselves. If we don't have clothing that is really easy for us to reach for and comfortable and something that we feel we look good in, then it is easy for us to get overwhelmed when we are making decisions in what we're wearing. And so leaning into a minimalist wardrobe is a lot easier when we are sticking with basics. So that is another reason that I am getting into this. At this point, I have over 30 pairs of jeans and clothing with the tag still on it. I have clothing items I've worn maybe once or twice. I'm at the point where I'm like, no more. I am sticking to a minimalist wardrobe and sticking to the basics. And I can't even tell you how good it feels getting rid of clothes that I haven't worn in years. It feels so good. And it feels so much better than having 1,000 options in my closet. And it honestly feels better having less things and less clutter in my home. So I hope that you guys consider doing something similar. Even just doing a purge of any clothing that you no longer wear is super beneficial for your mental health. Clothing that no longer fits you is extremely beneficial as well. And I really hope that inspires you to look into your wardrobe into things that might not be the best for your health, and hopefully stop purchasing from companies that are not ethically sourced. I made a pact to myself that if I want clothes or need clothes, I have actually taught myself to sew this year. So I've made a pact that if I want any more clothes or need any more clothes, I'm only going to be sewing my own clothes. And I think that's extremely important because it really teaches us what goes into making clothing, and I'm actually really enjoying it as well. I've always been a creative person and I've always been passionate about fashion, so it's kind of just something that makes sense for me. Another huge factor is that when you're making your own clothing, it can fit to your body perfectly. I'm also only going to be purchasing fabrics that are Oeko-Tex certified. So if you don't know about Oeko-Tex, it is a certification that tests their products for toxic chemicals and tests the fabrics overall for toxicity and make sure that the fabrics that you are using are not toxic to your body. And a lot of Oeko-Tex certified fabrics are also ethically sourced, so you can be sure that you're not purchasing fabrics from overseas that are woven in sweatshops. So that is a huge thing that I've gotten into recently. If it's a little bit of a mess, it's because I was sewing something today, and I've made a dedication to myself to not purchase any more products that are not ethically sourced, and made a dedication to myself as well to only make my own clothes. There is a little bit of variation in there. If there's something that I literally cannot make myself, I will be purchasing it, but only from companies that are ethically sourced and prove that their fabrics are non-toxic. So I think I covered everything for you guys. If you have any questions, leave them for me below. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out to be able to make more videos like this and give you guys as much information as I can that I've learned, and I post new videos every week. So please hit that subscribe button and hit the like button if you like this video, and I'll see you guys around.